Hey everyone! Welcome back to this strange void of existence that I don't know where I am anymore, where I review anime characters from video games. Hooray! So, for those who have been asking, where has this been? Well, I was trying to work on one for the new sibling bonds thing, but unfortunately there are so many units in that one. There's 6 instead of the typical 2 to 3, maybe 4. So instead I decided I would take it back and instead look at something a little bit more interesting, because I had been asked quite a few times about these characters. And these characters are the characters that you get at the start of the game, the free units, the ones that start off at the lowest rank, and if they are worth at all upgrading. So I guess I'll just say that this one is going to be about time consumption, working on the characters that you have here, and if they are worthwhile at the end result, to take it upon themselves to get there. Well, I can safely say we have a lot to talk about, but I'm going to lay down some ground rules real quick. One of the cons is just kind of global for them, and that is the fact that, well, they can't be merged, meaning that they can't be merged with another 5-star unit of their same type because, well, there's only one of them. You can't pull them out at current out of anything. There's no focus summon for them, there's nothing. They are their own character, you only get one of them. So typically they are at a disadvantage a little bit because, well, you can't really fuse them with anyone or merge them to gain bonus stats. There's no duplicates to, throw at them, at least right now. That could change in the future, so don't quote me on that. Just saying right now, don't expect, to be able to merge them right now at this current point in time. So I guess we'll just hop on into the actual review segment, and I'm gonna get all the elements in, turn them on. Alrighty. Hopefully they're up on screen and I'm not, drunk at the wheel when it comes to editing this. And this time we are actually going to start off with the color green. We're going to go backwards, and since there's no color list, we don't have to care. Whoa! But mostly, I want to start with green, if that's okay. So first up on the list is Anna, and Anna is a very particular axe wielder. You may have gotten her at the start, and if you didn't, I want to know how you didn't. I mean, no, really, tell me your secrets. So I guess we'll just start with her weapon, that is lon'qu. And lon'qu kind of has the ability, if you're familiar with it from other units, it's called Wings of Mercy. And basically what that does, it allows her to move adjacent to any ally when their HP is lower or equal to 40%. Moving on from that, we also have Night Sky and Astra, which is an additional 50 or 150 bonus percentile damage if she manages to fill all the charges, which are 4 and 5 respectively. And from there we move on to Vantage, which, when she hits certain health thresholds, be it 25, 50, or 75 based on rank, she will then counterattack first when attacked. And then of course we have Spur Res, and that's the basic res plus 2, 3, or 4 during combat. For any adjacent allies, by the way. I just thought I'd throw that in. Oh, and I guess we should probably move on to pros and cons for Anna. And I will safely say that Anna's pros vastly outweigh any of her cons right now, mostly because she has very high offensive skills. Not only that, she has decent speed, and she has abilities that allow her to get in there, do damage, and hopefully not die. That's the main prerogative there, is not dying. But still, she has very nice abilities in Vantage and Astra. Granted, Astra's a little bit longer on the cooldown, side of things, but still, Astra's really nice. Spur Res is a good little cherry on top, and it definitely helps her out in her survivability just a bit. From there, we have to move on to cons, and cons, as for the adverse, the cons, I have to say, well, she has 2 big ones, and those are, 1, her defensive capabilities are a bit on the low side. She will be roughed up pretty hardcore. Granted, Vantage and things like that might help her along, but still, honestly, her defense is, well, to be desired. Also, aside from that fact, we also have, well, We have the fact that she is a unit that has to be upgraded. She starts off at the lowest rank, and it's going to be quite time-consuming to actually get her up to her proper level. So you may find yourself kind of having issues getting there, and that is a big upset in a lot of ways. So generally, it's more for those who really want to try and grind her out and get her to the point that she can be useful to them. I have to say that outside of what some may say, she's actually a pretty useful unit, in my opinion, not only with the teleportation, the amounts of very useful abilities that she has, and her stats in general are pretty high. I really like Anna quite a bit as a unit, and, well, as a green axe unit mostly. If you need a good green unit and you just can't seem to get the summons you want, or you just don't feel like spending money, Anna is definitely the character you may want to look into. She's strong, she's fast, and she's brutal. And that's all you really need. Well, I guess we should probably move on to blue then, since we seem to be going in reverse. And, well, there's only one blue unit you get at the start, and that is Serena. Now, Serena, of course, being much like Anna, gains access to her own exclusive weapon in Fin Saleux at rank 5. And what Fin Saleux does is it inflicts attack -4 on anyone within 2 spaces through their next action at the start of each turn. Speaking of attack, she also has the command skill Rally Attack, which, if you don't know what that does, I'll just explain it to you right now. And that is, well, it rallies the attack of a adjacent ally by 4, I think. There you go. I hope you learned something. Outside of that, we have, well, speed. Speed plus. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Adds an additional 1, 2, or 3 speed to her based on the rank that you level it to. What do you want from me? There's nothing else there. And from there, we also have Fortify Defense. And, well, it's basically kind of aligned with a lot of what else she does right now, and that is it buffs the allies near her 2, 3, or 4 through the next actions at the start of each turn. Pretty basic stuff, but, well, that's quite a lot to look at when you splay it out here. So I guess we're going to have to go through pros and cons and explain if Serena is worth investing your time and effort into. So let's just talk about the pros, I guess. And that is, well, her stats, mainly attack, speed, and HP, are actually pretty high, meaning that she can get in there, she'll deal damage, and she'll typically hit more and get hit less, which is always a plus. Moving on from that, she has pretty powerful buffs, not only in her fortified defense, but also rally attack, meaning that she can be versatile on the field of battle and also benefit her allies pretty substantially. She also has access to her weapon debuff, which is just fantastic. Negating attack while also boosting defense is a great concept. But outside of that, well, she does have low resistance, meaning that any tome user might wreck her pretty hard. However, she also is pretty time-consuming, meaning that you're going to be putting a lot of effort just to get her up to 5-star to use her special weapon, which is a big draw to her as well. But I have to say, all in all, Serena is a versatile unit that is actually pretty good out there. Not as good as some of the other blue units, but chances are you might not get them. And Serena is a sure bet. She has great stats, great abilities, a great weapon, and if you put the time and effort into her, she will be a great blue unit for you. Highly suggest it. If you want, and you don't want to spend any money, get her. Try her out, see how you feel about it, because honestly, even at 4 stars, she'll be pretty good at what she does. You'll definitely want to try her out. That's pretty much all I have to say about her. Moving on, once more, to the last unit, who is, well, he's red. So I guess we should change to red, obviously. And then also, we should probably talk about Alphonse. Alright, so let's just move on to the weapon. And just like the other two before him, he also has an exclusive weapon, and that is Folkvanger. That name, oh boy, that name. But still, what it does is it grants +5 attack at the start of each turn if his health is less than or equal to 50% health. Moving on from that, we have Daylight and an old classic, Soul, which heals the unit for 30 or 50% of the damage dealt. And from here, well, we have Death Blow, which grants +2, 4, or 6 attack if the unit initiates combat. And then finally, we also have Spur Attack, which grants adjacent allies +2, 4, or 6 attack during combat. And with that all out of the way, it's time to take a look at pros and cons and figure out where we go from here, shall we? So I guess I'll just say it. He has extremely high attack, and I mean very high. He will deal a lot of damage when he gets in there and actually does attack. Not only that, Daylight and Soul are exceptional abilities to have when it comes to, well, survivability. Spur Attack in its own right is probably not the most amazing thing, but it can help out in some situations, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Outside of that, though, we do have to take a look at his cons, and he has a little bit more than the other two we've discussed beforehand. Not that it hurts him too much, but he does have low speed and res, meaning that he will take more hits, and he'll also be a little bit more burdened when it comes to tome users. So be on the lookout. Outside of that, his special ability due to the low speed means that, well, he won't be charging it as fast as if he did, so you may not see Soul go off at all. He might die pretty quickly, especially if he's up against tome users, so be wise with how you use him. And of course, we have the issue that comes with all of these units, and that is that he is time consuming. He eats a lot of feathers and, well, badges and whatever else you're using to rank him up beyond that. So it really becomes a question of, well, do I have a better red unit at this point who might be more fit for it? Or should I go with him because he seems not, nice enough as is? It's really up to you here. I feel that Alphonse is not a terrible character. He's actually pretty good at what he does. He does a lot of damage. He has pretty decent defense, some decent health, and he's not by any means as bad as what I hear about him. Still, though, it's a pretty big investment to get him up there, so I don't know if I would do it myself, but I mean, if you really want a decent, fairly good red unit, I would look no further than Alphonse, because he does pretty well at what he does do. Alright, with Alphonse out of the way, it's time to take it slow, and I have to say, I hope this was informal to you guys. I know a lot of you were wondering about these units and if you should put effort into them. I can safely say that in general, they're actually pretty good units if you do take the time. I myself personally prefer Serena and Anna. They're pretty good at what they do. They can fill a slot pretty quickly, and if you decide to get them up to 4 stars, they do pretty well themselves. Still though, it's up to you on that portion. I hope this was, well, helpful in some ways to give you an idea of what they can do, because honestly, they can do a lot. It's just right now, without, merging and some of the other things, they're kind of a bit more at a disadvantage. Not only that, you have to level them up yourselves, so they can be a bit taxing when it comes down to it. But all in all, these 3 starter units are free. They're more time consuming, but you can get them up there without really too much hassle, and you might find them to be exceptional units in their own right. So I highly suggest taking a look at them, try training them a bit, see what you think. Well, other than that, I think it's time to call it a day. I had fun making this again. It reminded me why I liked editing when it came down to it, because while I was doing all those daily unit things, I realized people were kind of upset with how I might have bashed a character a little bit too much, and I understand that, but don't worry, I'm working on it. And these edited spheres that I made here, I tend to be more, I think, thoughtful and less sporadic in its own right. So, again, I've had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. And if you did, feel free to leave a like, maybe share it with your friends. Check out my channel. I do a lot of great stuff, and I love you guys. I'll catch you later. It's time to call it a day on this, my weird universe that I live in. I don't know where the door is, but I'm going to try and find it. It's somewhere around here. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.